expedition lost. It's the winner's match. And first player is our red Brutus in the top right-hand corner from Flipside Tactics. puCK.
And the player in the south able to defeat Supernova 2-0 to advance on to this position. We have the other component of this PVZ, the Z. It is our blue Zerg from Team Acer. It is Bly.
Oh, Bly.
Yeah, buddy. Woo!
It's going to be a fun one. Not even putting it down on the natural. Although I feel like that would go pretty well as well, because puCK would scout it by now. But I'm guessing Bly's going to make some roaches, and he's going to try and break down the back rocks. Maybe a spine crawler or two as well. But once again, we find ourselves, I think, in a little bit of a similar situation to puCK versus Supernova. puCK versus Patreus. Only it's also a very different situation. In that puCK, once again, he scouts, he sees, oh, there's 300 minerals missing. And this time he checks the third base. But this time there's no third base. Oh, dear. puCK just, he can't quite seem to catch a break.
I imagine what was going through puCK's mind was like, he goes in there, he sees no natural, he sees the spawning pool timing, he's like, ha, I know exactly what you're doing, I just played against this. And then he goes over there, and now he's back to that confused state of he's just like, dang it, he is doing something really, really weird, and I don't know exactly what it is. But we do have 6 lings on the way.
Yeah, puCK is checking every possible location for a hatchery, apart from, the one that honestly makes very little sense, the one Bly's actually taken. And
oh, man.
Obviously, like, both the goal bases were a good spot to check. Right now, though, I mean, actually, the links just completely ignore this probe and go straight past. puCK should be okay. Actually, he's got no mothership core. puCK might have a little trouble with this. He's going to start one now, is he? No, he's just crying out as Stalker. So, going to try and get a wall off down. Of course, he still has no idea where this hatchery is. There's a queen that's going to come out. He can start working down the rocks with that. And the roach one is just about finished, along with Burrow as well. Bly has been doing some fantastic work with Burrow in some of the earlier games, particularly against Supernova on Overgrowth. And we'll see how well it serves him in his PVZ. Nice little block by puCK, again, preventing those links from getting into the base. And it looks like the Zealot will trade itself out quite nicely, especially with the help of that Stalker. Actually, 2 links get into the base, but I kind of think puCK's feeling pretty okay with this. He'll probably feel a little bit less okay when he's seen it. He knows now.
Yep. So we got the queens, we got the roaches working on those back rocks, and there puCK is finally just like, aha, of course, yes, creep at my back door base. 3 more drones are being added on, so this is not all aggression. Bly wants to make sure he's got a good enough economy, although it's not a good economy at this point, to power out more and more units. Now the roach is trying to bust down the front door of puCK. They are going to be able to get in. There's the cancel on the pylon. The photon cannon does finish up, and it manages to get some damage done. But again, you talked about it a little bit earlier. We saw Bly have some really, really solid roach micro in the games versus Supernova. Maybe we'll end up seeing that. Not so far. With these roaches.
The cannons first, because they're the detection. Otherwise, they can just get.
That's true.
Now that the cannons are gone, he can burrow up, regen a bit of health, wait for reinforcements, and then just keep on unburrowing, getting bits and bits more damage down and chipping away. Oh, there's no force field, and both the roaches get into the main base. There's of course a cannon at the back rocks and a cannon in the middle line, so there's a limit to how much Bly can really get done here, but he should be able to do a fair bit nonetheless. Oh no, they are out of range of that cannon, so they get the bar off. And now Bly's expanding behind this. puCK, he's taken a fair bit of damage, sitting down at 23 or 24 workers now. And it's kind of stabilized, but Bly still has the threat of those roaches that can come in and pick off probes as they are now. Just getting mining time. They can burrow back up and regen health. And there's no detection anywhere close for puCK, other than, of course, those cannons.
Yeah. Which, I mean, non-moving detection is not necessarily what you always want. As we can see, Acer Bly is just poking in and out, doing what he can with his roaches, and you can see he's just alternating between the main base and the natural expansion. He pokes in one, he forces units to react and move into a different base, and then he just moves his roaches in the other base and continues putting on that bit of pressure. He also does have a reasonable amount of mining going on at that backdoor base. I mean, there's 10 drones there bringing in money, which is quite silly in so many ways. But we also have Lair on the way for Bly, so he's following it up with more and more drones, more roaches even, could be added on, and these roaches are just being so annoying. 13 probes have gone down. It's silly. It is silly.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely silly. It has to stop. You don't stand for this kind of stuff.
No.
Only sensible, long macro games here.
Of course.
But yeah, it's some pretty cool stuff. As you say, 13 probes gone down. And these few roaches that Bly eventually managed to get into base, they haven't done that much, but they have divided puCK's attention quite a lot. For not a huge investment for Bly. He just kind of unburrows them, and then puCK has to decide where they are. And I feel like he's got a pretty good handle on it now, given that he's just got a few units. But, another probe does manage to get picked off. With the observer out, the mobile detection is, of course, a limit to how much more they can get done. But still, it's kind of nice, every little bit of damage. And behind this, Bly is now on what is, I think, technically a 3-base economy, or a little bit under. When those 10 drones finish, he'll be pretty much on it. And even though one of the bases is at his opponent's third, I feel like he's still looking pretty good to, defend that third base. We'll have to see, though, because, of course, puCK automatically gets a very close proxy pylon, and there's a lot of overlords going down here. Bit of a missed rally point, I think, here for Bly.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there. So far, he hasn't been supply blocked too hard. This may be the one that tips the supply block a little bit there. Nope. But he is, again, forced to rebuild those overlords when he would rather be building other things. And the Lings are going to be popping out from that kind of second base for Bly. I mean, Bly has taken his proper second and third bases, so he's going to be all right when eventually this proxy hatchery goes down. He's still going to have an all right economy as long as the drones escape. But for now, I mean, puCK, he hasn't actually been able to move out from his base very much. He's got that Immortal mixed in with his army. Of course, he had to get that Robo, even for the Observer. But the Spire is almost done.
Yeah, the Spire's nearly done for Bly. The Mutalisk come out, and, of course, as you said, there's a Robo. Robo's not so hot against Mutalisks, but now this is the big disadvantage, I think, of taking this third base. Immortals can kill your extractors from the high ground. Plus, everything else can just walk down the high ground and kill you. And this is going to be very, very difficult for Bly to actually deal with. He's actually already evacuated his probes, which I really, really like. He knows his base is forfeit. He's mined enough that actually it was worth building that hatchery just on a purely cost-to-cost basis. Getting the having the Mutalisk pop there, though, it obviously gives puCK really solid advance warning. Immediately, we saw 4 Stalkers warped in back at home, and the rest of the Mutalisks aren't going to catch up to these 4 for quite some time. So puCK has plenty of time to react, to decide how he's going to play out the rest of this game.
Yeah, now for the moment, okay, as I was about to say that Bly wasn't adding on more Mutalisks, he adds on 6 more, drones up a little bit further, so it's always interesting to see exactly how hard a Zerg player will commit to Mutalisks. Of course, Mutalisks can be quite hard to deal with if you don't have your army split in the correct way, you don't have units in the right place, and for now they almost pick off that mothership core. I guess he did manage to recall with a couple of the Stalkers back into his main base, but the Ling Flood is coming in through that back door. These Lings should be able to be held off, but no, the force field is misplaced. The Stalkers take a little bit of damage there, and the Mutas do get routed, and the rest of the Lings get caught between a rock and a hard place. They're trying to get some probe kills, which they may get a couple, but overall that attack not doing maybe as much damage as Bly would have liked, but even so, I mean, he's sitting on that 4, going to be 5 base economy.
Yeah, this is a really scary force for puCK moving out now, and Bly still doesn't have that huge dominating force of Mutalisk that can actually fight Stalkers, especially with the addition of those few sentries, the Guardian Shield, obviously extra armor, fantastic against Mutalisks, and Bly is kind of desperately building Panic Links here, and I think we're actually preparing for a base trade, but puCK already has a ton of cannons from the crazy early game, so I kind of feel like puCK's going to be pretty decently placed against this, and Bly actually turning back now is going to try and fight, but can he win against this strong force from puCK?
I feel like puCK has just got a little bit too much for a straight-up engagement, and we're going to have to see Bly really utilize his units in important ways. Now, the force field's making this army even easier to defeat for puCK, as he's sectioned off the Mutalisks from really having very much actual ground unit support. Ooh, a couple of units. Ooh, those Mutalisks spawning in at the wrong place, wrong time, will end up getting cleaned up. Now, there is still a fair number of Mutalisks out on the map, 22 in total, which means they are a powerful force. But again, as you were talking about, they're not that super crazy, even like 36 that we sometimes see Zerg players go for. It's not that big, huge swell. Now, at the natural base of Bly, this Protoss force is looking incredibly terrifying.
Yeah, the Mutalisks is going to move in. I think this has got to be the final engagement, getting a decent magic box. But that doesn't matter when there's no actual splash for them, and the Mutalisks have to back off, and Bly can't afford to do that with his natural base going down. He's only one step away from the main and all the juicy tech.
Yep. 20-plus drones being eliminated on top of this. The workers lost, which for a while was only puCK the one losing units, or you losing workers, has now been evened up. 5 stalkers do get caught out of position, which is nice for Acer Bly, but again, he's going to end up losing that technology. We're talking about the Spire, the Roach Warren, the Lair, even the spawning pool will end up getting cleaned up by puCK's formidable army, and he's got way more DPS than the Mutacloud, which has to deal with cannons and all sort of warpins on the other side of the map.
Yeah, it's going to be so tough for Bly, and there's even a Photon Overcharge going down as well, so he's going to have to fight in that, taking fire from several cannons and the Stalkers as well if he wants to actually attempt any kind of base trade. Now that he's finally committed to the base trade, I think it's too late. Like, his main advantage in a base trade would have been the fact that he had 5 bases. Now he has 2, and he's, they're on equal bases. There's so much static D here for puCK, just aside from the warpins he can bring to the table. And it's going to be tough. Bly's still fighting, still trying to make it happen. And, I mean, he's got 26 Mutalisks, but that's all he's going to get. He has absolutely no buildings. No buildings he can use to make units. All he can make right now is drones.
Yep. Now, he does have a couple of extractors spread out, which is quite nice, but in sheer volume, it's clearly going to puCK. Now, this many Mutas has been able to force away the majority of the army units from puCK, but his army is turning around, and those are the Stalkers that he'll actually need. 17 in total for puCK versus the 23 Mutalisks. And of course, depending on how this engagement goes, it could be a resounding victory for puCK. He has split off some of his forces. A couple of Zealots and Immortals going to be sweeping the southern part of the map, but the Mutas are staying away from the Stalkers. They're trying to anyways, now getting caught a little bit out of position as the Stalkers are going to be getting some nice shots off here, but I'm not actually sure how many Mutas are going down. It seems like the Mutas are still holding relatively strong at 17.
Yeah, but now puCK has found Bly's current base. And the Mutalisks is going to kind of race the Stalkers back there. So all these Immortals and Zealots should go down, which is really, really nice for puCK to actually be able to clear out quite a lot of these forces. But Bly now doesn't actually have a base. He's re-expanding to his main, but actually doesn't even manage to pick off all these units.
Okay, so he picks off one of those Immortals, which, of course, Immortals great at killing those buildings. And like you were talking about, Bly has managed to re-expand to his main. He's also kept 12 drones alive, which is quite pitiful when you compare it with the 35 probes of puCK. So if puCK really is allowed to just play out a couple of minutes, he's going to be so much further ahead than Bly, considering all things. But Bly doing what he can to pick off the army of puCK. It's lots of long-distance mining for our Protoss player as he's pushing the Mutas back, but they're doing little bits of damage here and there.
The problem is, I think, really for Bly, I think he's traded cost-efficient with his Mutalisks. He's killed off a lot of Stalkers, but puCK is still mining. puCK can still make units. Bly can't make anything. He can make drones, and he's not even rebuilt a spawning pool yet. He can't even make lings. And the fact is, puCK can afford to take these slightly cost-inefficient trades, and I don't know if he can afford this, though. Actually, every single Stalker going down.
Wow.
But puCK still has those cannons to fall back on. He can still warp in units there fairly safely. And I don't know. I just don't see. I don't see Bly being able to do actually crippling damage to puCK.
Well, one of the weaknesses that you brought up a little while ago was the fact that... Oh, that Mutalisk does escape. But it was the fact that Bly did not have quite the number of bases that he had before. And he's been able to whittle down puCK's army while re-expanding up to the top left corner of the map. He's also got extractors spread around the map. So maybe with the considerably reduced army of puCK, which is really just sentries and a zealot, and the Mothership Corps if you want to count that, Bly is not in nearly as bad of a situation as he was, even going to be sniping down these last couple of probes. Yeah, he can't really take a direct engagement over those cannons, but he can pick off so much else of what puCK has.
Yeah, he is doing pretty nicely for himself, and those sentries have to back off. And with the fast region on those Mutalisks, he can afford to dive into the cannons now and again just to just pick off a unit or two. And yeah, now that Bly has actually taken command of the skies with his Mutalisks, puCK is finding it difficult to find a good answer to them. No, the Mutalisk survives as well. So yeah, this is more back and forth than I expected it to be.
Yeah, definitely a weird transition for the weird opening of this game. More pylons getting picked off, and as long as Bly is able to do little bits of damage, he's going to be all right. He has to be so careful about these straight-up army engagements and all of the little chip damage that puCK has managed to do. Now, as another hatchery is coming out, the proper natural expansion of Bly is getting thrown down, but he's rebuilt that Roach Warren, which is very, very important, as he's starting to rebuild that infrastructure he lost so long ago.
Yeah, I mean, puCK doesn't really have any good answers for the Roaches anymore. I believe he lost his Robo facility. Oh no, he still does have it, but I mean, he's not interested in producing Immortals right now. He has to produce Stalkers to try to deal with these Mutalisks, and if Bly can actually get up a strong Roach force, which he's starting to, he'll be able to take an absolutely dominating fight against puCK.
Yeah, and again, it'll come down to what are the exact specifics of a straight-up engagement, because we're starting to see these Mutalisks get pulled down. They were somewhere up near like 17 when this kind of weird lull in the game began, but now they're down to just 8. So they're really... Oh, Photon Overcharge does get popped. The Mutalisks will manage to escape on out of there, but again, these cannons may be able to one-shot a couple of these. Over on the left side of the map, there's the majority of puCK's army moving in for this hatchery, and they are going to be able to target it down easy peasy. Fortunately for Bly, he was able to evacuate what drones he had. He was able to get them to safety, and at the natural expansion of puCK, more gateways are getting targeted down just outside of the range of that Photon Overcharge.
And now Bly is grouping up his Roaches outside puCK's natural. He's going to try and ambush the forces of puCK as they move back. It's going to be a tough fight. The force field's going to have to be good.
There we go.
Good force fields. Yep. Cut off, those Roaches from the actual army. Managed to take one of them out, and the Mutalisks move back in for some more harass.
Yeah, Bly is playing this out so well. He knew that he couldn't just let puCK sit there. puCK had a superior army, he had a superior economy, and this is like the one way that this game turns out in favor of Bly, is just consistent, unceasing chip damage at puCK. And again, you mentioned the Muta regen a little while ago. Bly is loving that regen. As he does fly maybe a little bit into the wrong position. Those Stalkers so close.
Yeah, still, only one Mutalisk goes down, and
wow.
Bly has just been... He's never lost more than, like, one Mutalisk at a time, and even those are big losses. He's been reduced down from, like, 26 down to 6. He's actually lost, over the course of this game, 38 Mutalisks, but, man, I wish he had... I bet he wishes that he had those 38 Mutalisks right now, because the game would be looking very different if he did.
Yeah, he has split the Mutas once again off to the northern side of the base. He's going to be doing more and more of that chip damage, but Roaches are here for the defense. There's the force fields going to be separating this army off, but there is, well, it would be really convincing Burrow Micro, but unfortunately the Observer is here for Bly. Unfortunately for Bly, that is. which means everything is just getting trashed. And this Protoss army is still quite powerful with those force fields.
Yeah, absolutely. Just being able to cut off the roaches and drones from the rest of that army. The Mutalisks fly in to try and help out, but there's nothing to help out because of those force fields. And puCK, he's being a little careful. He actually sees all of the Bly Z units moving across the map. A base trade again, and puCK's taking a third base this time. Yeah, but it looks like this is the thing. Bly keeps being so indecisive about whether he goes for it, and he's just picking off reinforcements. But puCK, nice force field.
Wow.
Gonna catch all of those drones. Back down to 8 drones goes Bly, and he's just got his main base. He is going to evacuate some drones from there, so he's going to try and get out, and he does have them enough to throw down 1 hatch. Ooh. But that's going to be basically it. Once that hatch goes down, he's going to be committed to that location until he mines enough for another hatch.
Yep, and now with the fall of that hatch, Bly is in a very awkward situation. He tried to poke into the natural, but a perfect force field placement there, blocking off the roaches, has kept Bly at bay. For now, puCK is holding, I won't say strong, but he is holding. In come the roaches, snipe down both of the 3 of the 4 of the sentries go down. The Stalker gets eliminated as well, and now the Nexus may end up getting targeted, but these probes will manage to escape over to that 3rd base location. Bly is being revealed. Of course, he has not rebuilt that base, and he doesn't actually have a huge opportunity for the rest of this game. He needs to make something big happen soon.
Yeah, he does. Oh, the Mothership Core goes down before it can actually cast Photon Overcharge. So now puCK has to defend these bases, but he can defend these bases. He's got enough an army to do so. But actually the Stalkers without the sentry support aren't going to trade so well against these roaches.
Yeah, now even the Mutalisks coming in for the support. The force fields go down, splitting off these roaches a little bit here and there. XD comes out. Dat game, GG from Bly, and puCK takes game number 1 of the Winners Series. What a week! All right, welcome back to game number 2. Catalina is the map, and the Protoss in the bottom right corner. From Flipside Tactics, we have puCK.
And his opponent down or over in the left-hand side of Catalina is the Blue Zerg player from Team Acer, Bly. Hatch gas pool out of Bly. I'm assuming it'll be a pool next because that makes more sense than hatch gas hatch. There we go.
Gas, and then he just never uses the gas. He's just like, nope, no pool, no pool.
No, yeah, just double gas, hatch, double gas at the natural, hatch.
Yes,
that
sounds good.
Build others.
I think that's Bronze League. I think that's my Bronze Zerg build.
Yep, sounds about right. I went full hatch before pool in ZVZ against one of my friends once, and I won because he was like bronze.
Well,
I think he was gold but played Protoss, but yeah.
Ugh. Off racing a Zerg. But anyways, we do have that Nexus first into the gateway for puCK. So, I mean, relatively economical plays from both guys. Not necessarily super hardcore economy focused from Bly. As you did mention, he went into that gas for the speed, and he did go pool. It's not double hatch before pool or anything like that, but relatively economic for both players.
Yeah, Bly is looking to make things a little less economic, though, with a bunch of Lings coming out as he tells his opponent he's making some drones and playing greedy. And unfortunately for puCK, he's going to scout the wrong location first. No, he's not actually scouting the wrong location, I don't think. I think he saw an Overlord. Yeah, he saw which direction the Overlord came in from, so he's actually just getting ready to plant down a proxy pylon. But Bly has, as always, other plans. And with the Lings coming in, I'm not sure this is a tight wall in. It's not. And puCK actually has to retreat now. the speed on these Lings is very, very close to completion as well. No cancel on that gate either. And things are not looking so hot for puCK here. A little bit too greedy, maybe.
Yeah, all things considered, and of course he did have to. I think that's a tight wall in up at the main ramp. So hopefully this Ling flood will be mostly contained to the natural expansion, and the Mothership core is out, but that's such a pitiful amount of DPS versus this many Lings. 14 more on the way. The probes forced to run, and they're doing what they can to juke away these Lings, but it is just not working out for puCK. Oh man.
No, not particularly. And now Bly's Lings can start hammering down on that pylon, and puCK's not a Terran player. He can't repair those pylons. And it's going to be a little bit tough. There's Lings all over the place with Bly, attacking like 90% of his buildings. And not even actually going to get Warp Gate completed. That's going to be a big, big loss. A bunch of pylons coming, gateways coming down the main. But without Warp Gate, you're just going to be producing from the 7 gates. And you absolutely don't want to do that. A ton of probes just trying to clump up so they don't get killed by these Lings. But the Lings have other ideas about that. And puCK's not happy about lying to him.
25 probes have gone down. Somehow the Stalker survives a little bit longer, and it's mostly just about the chat as Bly takes back game number 2 in this winner's best of 3.
Yes, you can. Okay. Oh, we're ready.
Yeah, we're back into it. 2:57 on the clock, just like we left. And once the player's okay, we should be going into this game.
Oh, actually, it's not quite like we left because these workers aren't kissing.
I'm not even looking at the right part of the map. I'm down at puCK's base. I don't even get to see the kissing workers.
Oh yeah, I should look on Saber's cam. There we go. So
oh yeah.
Yeah, Bly's just double checking everything's okay, and just wants 30 seconds to make sure it is. And
yeah.
I just want the countdown, man. Can we just pause it, unpause it, and then pause it again, and then it's okay. We go. Then we get our countdown.
And just freak out the players. Acer Bly is like, no, I'm not ready. Don't count it down yet.
No! Pause again.
No. Yeah.
What happens if you pause during the countdown? Does it start the countdown again, or does it just pause the countdown?
I've never tried.
Know. These are the kind of questions we need to be asking Dustin Browder.
I mean, drones have an unfairly large, maybe even an imbalancedly large selection circle in comparison to probes. Can you pause during the countdown, recovering from replay? I mean, these are important questions that just have not been answered.
Yeah, we just don't know.
So Acer Bly is still checking out his network issues. That is why we have not resumed. I don't know, what is the stream actually showing? Are we actually...
The stream's showing in-game.
Oh, okay, never mind. So people already know that.
Yep. We are finally ready. puCK says, okay. Oh, there it is. It's the countdown. Yeah. Ah, that was cool.
You know, this kissing probe and drone, not so friendly anymore. They got tired of each other, I think.
They're just playing tag.
Oh yeah, fair point.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no real damage, just a bit of shield damage.
Exactly. Not
That's true.
Ain't no thing like a chicken wang. And
exactly.
Yeah, Bly's actually. Oh no, he is sending it back now. I was thinking he sent his drone out quite a way. Just wanted, I guess, to chase puCK off and make sure he wasn't playing any kind of sneaky business with proxy pylons or anything. Now Bly goes 3 hatches, or hatch will hatch. Very, very fast third expansion. Oh, permanent expansion here, and he's pretty much safe in doing so because puCK, once again, that gateway, he got it up pretty quickly, and so his cyber core is going to be up relatively fast as well. But Bly hasn't gone like the greediest possible build or anything. There's no 3 hatch will pull, just hatch will hatch. So his tech will be fast enough to deal with any kind of big gateway all in puCK can realistically put on, especially on Deadwing.
Yep. Now we do have from puCK that probe scouting out, taking a look around, most likely going to be utilized to throw down a proxy pylon sooner or later. And we do have Warp Gate on the way, an additional gateway, and that Zealot, he is so ready for this wall-in to be complete. Right now, he just looks kind of silly standing there with the giant gap. But it does get filled. We've got that additional gateway on the way. Nothing crazy coming out, considering it was a quick expansion from puCK. So yeah, everything's looking normal, which kind of has me worried because these games are not supposed to be normal from puCK and Bly.
I've got faith. I think something crazy is going to happen. If it doesn't, I'm going to go crazy, and that'll happen. So yeah, that be a warning to you, players.
Always do what the casters want.
It makes us feel good, and everybody wants us to feel good. So, yeah, puCK's actually just gonna throw down 5 gateways again, and this is the same sort of build he pulled out on Expedition Lost against Betray Us, but this time I think Bly's gonna be a little more prepared for it. He did see the probe skulking around with his Overlord. If he, or the Overlord saw it. I don't know if Bly actually was watching and spotted it. I presume so, but a few, more links coming out for Bly. He's already in a better position than Patreus was. Question is, Patreus was, as I said, at the time, in an abysmal position, and a better position is still not necessarily a winning position. So we'll see how well this ends up going for Bly. He's got quite some time to catch on to what's going on, because actually, if puCK moves out with these first 3 zealots, this is already a little different, because last time he waited for several rounds of warpins before he actually went for it. And we'll see how things actually progress.
Yep, we've got 7 zealots on the way. Number 8 is warping in right now. The Zerglings are now speeding around the map. They don't actually find that pylon over on the right side. They may end up finding the one in the center, but we've got more zealots being added on. Zerglings are looking for an opening here and there, but we've got roaches on the defense and more drones getting powered out. Finally, that drone count is going to actually...
Oh no!
Are you kidding? Wow, that Zealot in exactly the wrong position. Zergling's on hold position as well, trying to do some damage to the drones, while in the main, or in the third base of Bly, we do have the Zealots pushing further and further forward, trapping a roach or 2, and they're going to be pushing on into that natural. Queens are here for the defense, while in the main base of puCK, we've got those Zerglings running around, going for the Stalker, going for those probes, and only 4 probes have gone down.
Yeah, puCK has done really, really well at saving his probes. Wow. The Speedlings, despite all their mobility, not quite able to actually compete with the raw power of those Zealots. And across the map, Bly is desperately having to spend most of his attention on not dying himself. So the Speedlings are just fighting Zealots, and it's not really going Bly's way on puCK's side of the map. However, let's not forget that all of these units in puCK's base have been warped in and or ideally would have been warped in across the map, actually really solidly doing incredible damage to Bly. So I think Bly only really held because of that counterattack. Even though it didn't do damage to puCK, it stops puCK doing damage to Bly, and that's the real thing here. So Bly has managed to hold on to this. A few worker losses, but nothing too crippling. They pretty much traded 1 for 1 as regards that, and I think in general, 1 for 1 pretty much. And whoa, this is gonna tip the scales a little bit in Bly's favor. Sorry, puCK's favor, as several roaches go down. But yeah, this gives Bly a decent idea that puCK is looking at taking a third base just from the army positioning, and he probably feels relatively comfortable about this. And yeah, we actually see the nearly did it again. Said Mutalisk Cavern, the Spire coming down, most likely for Mutalisks. And I think this is a great choice. Bly's got some pretty strong Mutalisk control. He almost managed to bring back a game from the brink of oblivion on Expedition Lost. And if he can go into Mutalisks and stay even, he will be looking very strong. But puCK has other ideas, of course.
Yep, he's on the low ground. He's potentially going to be doing some damage uphill with his Mothership Core providing that vision, getting himself an extra couple of drone kills, while we do have the Lings heading down on south. Now puCK has pulled back a little bit. He also does have that Warp Prism on the left side. It's not loading up with DTs like it was. Oh my word, this Zealot cannot do his job. Just once block those Lings from getting in. No! He cannot, and now Bly is going to be going ham on the main base, forcing the recall. Wow, Bly is on top of things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is going to be a dead fourth base, though. Or at least cancelled, yeah, and the cancel does get forced out. It wasn't too far along, so it's not the worst thing. But, yeah, I think that was really, really nice for Bly to actually get the recall there. And actually, if he can get a cancel on this third base, this will be really good for him. It's going to be close, though. He does manage to get it and backs out for the cost of only a few lings. Delaying his opponent's third base is going to be very, very nice. But across the map, the Warp Prism still doing its damage. This Spire is going to go down as well, unless these Mucus can save it, but I think it's already too far gone.
Oh, man, that Spire getting cleaned up. The base goes down as well, so they ended up trading bases that were under construction, but sniping down that Spire is not going to be very good for Bly. He does already have 9 mutas out, which is not a fantastic number. It's not quite the number he would like to have, but it's, you know, I mean, he's got a little bit of something. Unfortunately for Bly, he didn't actually kill off that Warp Prism either. So that Warp Prism still has the opportunity to do more harass, more damage, and put on more pressure. We'll have to see if puCK is actually able to do that, but for now, Bly is moving out. He's got some forces, but it's not a formidable army. He does force the cancel once again of that third base. He needs to make sure that his forces don't get trapped. puCK is not going to be trapping anything with force fields, which is good for Bly, and his mutas will be able to escape on out of there, no problem.
Yep, and the Spire's almost finished up again. puCK keeps on having to go back and forth across the map because Bly is just doing so well with his counterattacks with this enormously high mobility units in the form of Lings and Mutalisks. Just racing puCK across the map to get to his base, get to puCK's base, do damage to it, and puCK doesn't really have a great response. Bly has a few spine crawlers, so puCK can't quite push up there. But now that puCK's actually brought in an Immortal and massed up a few more forces, I feel like puCK can start thinking about going into, you know, continuing on with aggression even when Bly's putting on some of his own. But we'll kind of see there's still a lot of spine crawlers up here.
Yep, now we do have some Zealots moving in to deal with those spines, while on the other side of the map we do have Roaches at the natural of puCK. Remember, he was never able to establish that third base. 2 Warp Gates get shut down there, that single pylon, while in the main base we got Mutas tearing through a cannon, potentially going to be going for that worker line. At the third base of Bly, his workers have been pulled off the line. The Stalkers are moving forward with the sentries over to the natural base, and in the natural of puCK, we've got all of the Roaches finally being cleaned up. But again, he's not warping those units in on the other side of the map. He's not using them to be offensive. He's using them in a defensive manner, and that is not necessarily what puCK wants to be doing. He does have to deal with these mutas. Again, Bly forcing puCK to deal with things on the opposite side of the map, while puCK is, I mean, pushing further and further forward. He's cleaned up the natural of his opponent. He's actually doing a surprising amount of damage, and this is 5 probes left on the map for puCK.
Yeah, this time Bly had enough nucleus. He's actually just going to fight Photon Overcharge. And as I said, I wanted to see what Bly could do if he could go into mutas with a fairly even footing. And it looks like, you know, the answer to that question was he can win the game. And that's what Bly's making happen here. He's absolutely slaughtered puCK's economy. This is kind of what happened against Patreus again. puCK has his final army. He has the final push. Can he win the game with this? I think it's a different answer, though. It's tough to call, but Bly has this second base up, and he has so many middles in the bank. He can take a hat trick at like every single base on the map, and he's still got a ton of Muclis left to clean up puCK's base.
Yeah, puCK is in absolute shambles. Now, the only thing that's kind of bad for Bly is, like you were talking about, he's not taking those bases all over the place. He's more of just utilizing his Mutalisk DPS to work through the bases and the buildings of puCK. But he doesn't really have, like, that insurance policy. And, of course, he doesn't know that he just killed the last probe of his opponent. So now puCK actually can't build anything else. He's just got the structures that he's got. I don't think he's got any Nexus. No, he doesn't have any Nexus out on the map, so he can't rebuild any workers. He doesn't even have enough money, and everything is going Bly's way.
Yeah, these are the final structures puCK will have in this game.
Yeah.
He has to go back and defend them, I think, and the pylons being cleaned up pretty nicely. The Muclis are going to tear their way through pretty much everything puCK has. I feel like Bly can even actually race his opponent's army. I don't know. It's tough score. I'm not sure if Bly can fight this, but he might be able to. He's going to back off because he can afford to play the long game. Cleaning up these last few pylons. And
I'm not sure that Bly needs to fight here. He needs to certainly defend his main hatch, which is now kind of at that 5th base location, but he's got so little units and structures left for puCK that Bly should just be going for those last couple of structures, not looking to engage the army.
Yeah, most probably, and I know it's looking so poor for puCK. He's actually down in army supply, although Mutalists aren't the most supply-efficient units. But they're going to move back up here, actually taking down the Cyber Core. That's pretty nice. I mean, the buildings are just buildings at this stage. The Cyber Core doesn't matter. puCK can't warp in Stalkers or Sentries anyway. So, no, Bly's going to come in and fight here, and I think he's actually got it. I think these final few units are not going to win it. Bly is going to advance to this group in 1st place.